Hallo ihr Lieben und herzlich willkommen im Podcast der Kriegerschmiede. Heute mit Video und natürlich bin ich auch nicht allein und heute ein Spezial. Ich spreche mit Sharon Healey. Sharon ist verheiratet mit Todor und wie ihr wisst, ich arbeite ja mit Todor zusammen, veranstalte für ihn die Hacker-Workshops. Heute möchte ich aber mit Sharon über ihre eigene Arbeit sprechen. Und zwar das Generational Clearing. Also das Klären, das Reinigen der Ahnenlinien, um ganz auch bei sich anzukommen, um die Ahnen wieder loszulassen. Das sind jetzt kurz mal nur schon mal die Stichworte. Eine sehr wichtige Arbeit, eine sehr hochenergetische Arbeit. Aber dazu wird sie uns gleich mehr erzählen. Ja. Welcome, Sharon. Nice to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Fabian. Nice to be here.
Yeah.
And hello, everyone.
Genau. Yeah, we would really like to know more about your work. About things you're doing, but let us just start the way you got there. Is there like a personal story behind this? Is there like much more the way you got there? Yeah.
Well, obviously there's a personal story because this is how generational clearing came to be. For those that don't know, my mother was born in a Russian starvation camp in World War II in Yugoslavia.
Mm-hmm.
So my roots are very much European. Mm-hmm. They moved over to Australia when she was 10. So, mm-hmm. And my father's English. So I'm first generation born in Australia, but my mm-hmm. roots are European. Mm-hmm. So it was through returning back to Europe that this all happened, because within 6 weeks of returning back, my mother passed away in Australia, and she was the last one of the ancestors that left the European continent. I'd spent a lot of time working with my grandmother, and it was very important for me to bring them back home, let's say that, because I'm part of them. But the generational clearing, how it came to be, was that I spent a few years working with my ancestors on the other side because of the traumas they had. And the reason they left Europe was because of the traumas that they carried. My grandfather already foresaw the war between the Serbs and the Croats back in early 1950s. And he never wanted to go through another war again. So that's why he moved. I have documentation where my grandfather's surname was actually changed too, from one surname into another. And this has happened to a lot within Europe. There's been a lot of name changes. So we feel like we also have lost our identity in ways. So coming over, it was quite interesting to see, because I knew we were Croatian, and I knew I had a connection with Germany. And of course, it was under German rule at that time. My grandparents have German passports, and they left from Hamburg. And it wasn't till we done the Hacker workshop near Wiesbaden with you that one of my ancestors come through, and I knew the connection that I have with Germany. And it goes back to my great-great-grandfather coming from Germany and then going to Yugoslavia. So it's been a personal journey to see my own ancestors, how they fled just to have a good life. But coming back, I realized that there was so much pain with everyone else, and helping to heal my own ancestral line up from the land. And I won't go into all the other stuff of, it's been a few years working with them. So working with my grandmother mainly, she showed me Hamburg in 1956 when they left. And that was picking her part up that she'd left behind. And my grandfather was quite a soft man in a way, in his own way. Every family has their own story. And I only know my family's story. I don't need to know everyone else's and the reasonings, but I can support them. So it was through having to send them from the dark and into the light. So what I done was released all the negative within my family line and crossed them over into the light. I done it on a mass. I didn't do it individually. That was the interesting that intrigued me. It was that okay, I've had all these ancestors, because I would constantly be going into a room. My grandmother would take me into a room and I would see all my ancestors there. Some of them I'd never met. I wouldn't have a clue, because I only knew my grandparents. Because back in those times, in the early 60s when I was born, you going back and forward was not easy
Yeah.
as it is today. So
Yeah.
all the ancestors, even my mother's younger brother who passed away, he was sitting in there, and all these, I knew who they were on a level, but I'd never physically met them. So I worked more with my grandmother and my great-grandmother, believe it or not, my grandmother's mother. She was always present, but I'd seen photos of her, so I already had a bit of a connection there. But you would think that when you go into the room and you're working with your ancestors, you would think that you would only have one. But my grandparents were married, and it was like I had all my grandfather's line sitting with him and all my grandmother's line sitting with him. So even looking at that, I was trying to figure out, wow, okay, there's no separation to them. They all family, and they were all one through my grandparents' marriage,
Yeah.
and then filters down. So I worked with them for a few years until my mother was ready to go and having to travel around Europe and do the work. Interesting, I've not got to Croatia yet. I told her, and I've spoken, we're going to Vienna, and then we've got to go to Budapest. So Ozček is only 2.5 hours away from Budapest. So told her and I spoke about then we'll go. And it's okay now to go. And also going is for everything we do, it's all time orientated. So we're going to go there, and we'll be back into the new year under Pleiades calendar. So it's okay to go. Yeah, so I crossed them all over, and they all went all together. And when they went, when my grandmother showed me 1956 Hamburg and everything, I saw them all on a boat. And when we're in Hamburg, the boat was ready to go. They were ready to leave. Then we were standing there, and there was a boat that was heading out to sea from port. And our facilitator asked, would we like to go around the coast and walk on the beach? And we followed in car the physical boat going out, and it's symbolic. And then we walked on the beach, and I knew they were going. And when we were walking on the beach and the physical boat hit high sea, our facilitator said, oh, well, would you like to go have a coffee? And I said, yes, because then the energetic one with my ancestors I saw above, and they went, and it was like the entrance was open for them to leave and cross into the light. So I understood the importance of having to do this on a bigger scale than actually just doing it in, and this, I mean this with no disrespect, because all work is good, than doing it in just individual constellation works. My grandmother also taught me that we didn't have to go through their lives again. We didn't have to go through their emotions, because, they were once babies, they were once children, they were once teenagers in love, they were once married, they once had children. We don't need to go through what they experienced, but what we need to do is help them go. And when they go, then they showed me that then once they're fully in the new and in the light, then they can come back and support us correctly, not through their trauma that is being placed upon them. I work with Avalon energy, so I'm sort of a bit either side with a lot of things that I do. And they can come back, and if they choose to, we don't have to hold them here. And when they come back, they can come back in the right form. I've only had, because I've stepped in to my other work as well, and I'm left with me, just me. And I already knew how to clean up my DNA system, so I did that. So I done that through meditation. And so I was just left with me, and I've had no one would come back. And then last year, about August last year, my grandfather came back, who never ever contacted or was with me in any way through this. It was always my grandmother, but he came back, and but where he came back from where he belongs, and he came back just to let me know everything's fine, everything's good, and we move on. I found in the family lines that there will be one that has chosen to clean up. So they're the ones that are having a lot of the drama and a lot of the trauma, a lot of the issues, and they don't understand then why their siblings are having such a good life, but they're holding it. And obviously I was the one in our family out of the 5 grandchildren, and I was the middle grandchild, so I was the one that said I would do this for our ancestral line. So when I'm cleaning up for me, I was also cleaning up for them and my children and everyone, but I was also liberating myself. Not that my ancestors, they're not negative, it's not bad, it's just that we're coming into a new world and that energy doesn't belong here anymore and they want to go. And I found that a lot. And about August when my grandfather came through, it was then that he gave me the thing, hey, you now have to help our people. And what he meant was the people of Europe for all the trauma, because, he took his family away from it. Didn't mean he still didn't carry it within his system.
Yeah.
So, and I understood what he meant. And I've always had this thing with the Germans. When I came here 5 years ago, I didn't see borders. There's no borders to me in Europe. I only see tribes. So I don't see anyone. And I've been doing a lot of work through my Avalon energies and working and talking and saying to people, I'm white Indigenous and I'm proud to be white Indigenous. I done that last summer, and people are just never ever realize that we are white, are Indigenous to a land. We're Indigenous to our land. So for me, I don't feel, I feel the whole of Europe, I feel at home. It doesn't matter where I am, because I see it as one land. And this is something also important, is when we clean this up, we take the trauma and the energies away. So, he came through and he showed me what to do. And so this is why we came to this program.
Wow.
This program hasn't come from me. I'm the one that's anchoring it down, and I'm the one that's here to help. And I have to keep it pure and the integrity. And I get invited to a lot of places to do the program, but they do ayahuasca, and it's not for me. Never has been drugs or anything. But with the ayahuasca, I can't do it because of the crossing the ancestors over. We're opening up for the light to come and receive them, angelic realm, whatever you want to call it. So it is a process that we go through. And everybody, I've met a lot of people. I know a beautiful German woman. She was very vibrant. I met her 5 years ago. Beautiful lady, vibrant, strong. And then I saw her after I hadn't seen her for 3 years, and when I saw her, she's now in going through mental health issues. She's now put herself in because she says, and I saw her grandfather is in her, and she's carrying the guilt and the shame and everything. And because what they're doing is they're pushing into us now. I've had people with physical ailments, and I see people are acting out the ancestors' trauma, and I saw, and she said, all I feel is my grandfather in. And what's happening is they're asking us, hey, come on, we've been down here in the dark. We've not crossed over correctly into the light. They're just pushing, asking us for help. That's all. There's nothing negative on it. I'd say to people that, like, with all dark Indigenous races, when someone dies, someone in the tribe knows. They know how to cross them over completely. They cut anything, any traumas or anything. They respect this was that person's life. It was their experience, and it doesn't get carried down to the next one. So they do it different. For us, we forgot how to cross them over completely. Then we've had war where we've had a lot of trauma, and it's not just World War One, World War Two. Some of this goes way back, way back, even before Christianity came. And this is the thing, is we've forgotten how to do all this. But now the energies are supporting for us to do it in a mass scale,
Mhm.
collectively. So with the program that had come through, is that when I work with the person, I put you as head of the family. You're the living ancestor.
Ja,
Really, you're
ja.
the living descendant. But you're an ancestor to those behind you, but you're descendant to those ones for you. So what we do is we work on the mother's line, so the mother's line, mother's father line one day. But I always put you as the head of the family because you're the living one that's taking charge of this, and then we work through the line. We've gone back up to 25 generations. One lady went back
Mhm.
further, and the aim is that we take them out of the dark. What I mean dark is the lower vibration that then because they're not in the high one. So we take them and we
Ja,
help them and we send them off to the light
ja.
completely and properly. And that is my job, of course, is to help with your ancestors
Mhm.
and support them and hold the space for them while you're
Yeah,
working with them. The
yeah.
thing is,
Before we go, just a quick one.
yeah,
Before we go deeper into the work, I would just like to um, summarize to the people what you've
yeah,
just said about your story and then how actually it all unfolded for you to go deeper there. And yeah,
yeah,
just a quick
go
one.
for it.
Also wir haben ja gerade gehört, Sharon hat uns eine sehr bewegende, sehr berührende Geschichte erzählt, wie sie überhaupt zu dieser Arbeit kam, weil sie sehr mit ihren eigenen Ahnen in die Arbeit ging. Und natürlich ist schon ihre eigene Geschichte auch sehr berührend. Also sie hat uns gerade erzählt, dass ihre Mutter in einem russischen Konzentrationslager geboren wurde, in Jugoslawien. Und sozusagen, da ist ein Teil ihrer Familie her, das ist der kroatische Teil. Und dann irgendwann ging es halt los. Die Flucht nach Australien, weil eigentlich kommt sie aus Australien, ist dort in der ersten Generation geboren. Und das Ganze passierte über Hamburg, also diese Flucht, diese Passage über Hamburg. Und sie hat noch erzählt, dass gerade auch, also neben dem Teil, sozusagen neben dem Balkan, neben Jugoslawien, Kroatien, wichtiger Teil eben auch noch Deutschland ist, weil sie ja einige Entdeckungen gemacht hat, eben auch gerade mit der Arbeit mit den Ahnen. Gerade das in Hamburg vor Jahren für sie ein Erlebnis war, im Zusammenhang mit einem Workshop, dass sie am Wasser stand, das Boot lief aus und während das Boot auslief, dass es für sie klar war, dass sie sehen konnte, wie die Ahnen mitgehen. Ja. Und im letzten Jahr, gerade im August hat sich auch ihr Großvater bei ihr gemeldet und da fing es dann an, dass ihr klar wurde, sie muss jetzt diese Arbeit machen. Sie hat das vorher ja alles schon gemacht, aber sie muss daraus jetzt sozusagen auch ein Programm machen, das da zu ihr kam, durch ihren Großvater übermittelt und das in die Welt tragen. Und am Anfang des Jahres hatten wir ja diesen wunderbaren Workshop in Wiesbaden im Sampurna, in Schlangenbad mit Todor und da hat uns Sharon auch ihre Arbeit vorgestellt. Und da war es spannend, dass sie nochmal einen Einblick bekam, wie das 1956 war, als ihre Ahnen eben aus Hamburg geflohen sind, dort geflüchtet mit dem Boot und das nochmal von ihrer großmütterlichen Seite für sie ganz deutlich wurde, sie die Bilder gesehen hat und für sie klar war, dass das ist wichtig und das war sozusagen gerade der zweite Teil dessen, das ist wichtig, dass wir uns mit diesen Ahnen beschäftigen, weil sie hat es gemerkt, der ganze Schmerz, der da drinnen lag, das Ganze natürlich, wieso Leute geflüchtet sind, die Unterdrückung und so weiter. Das ist ja alles noch als Energien, als Informationen gespeichert. Und ihr ist einfach klar geworden, dass wir einzeln uns auch damit beschäftigen müssen. Aber eben, sie sagt, das ist der Unterschied, weil ich kenne das ja selber aus der Aufstellungsarbeit. Wir können das einzeln machen, aber sie macht das eben eher in Gruppen, weil sie gerade sagt, das war ein wichtiger Punkt, wir brauchen nicht mehr in dieses Leid mit hineinzugehen, wir brauchen das nicht mehr noch für die Ahnen durchzufühlen, das war eine wichtige Message auch von ihren Ahnen, ihr braucht da nicht mehr hineinzugehen, ihr müsst das nicht für uns machen, es geht wirklich um das Loslassen, es geht wirklich das aus unserer eigenen DNA rauszulassen, das zu clearen, das zu klären, das zu reinigen. Und dann, da war mir gerade auch dabei, schon mal angeteasert, ein Selbst, also eine Essenz von sich zu erfahren, die wieder viel klarer, viel reiner ist. Okay. So, just for the people to know.
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. 4 years ago, Toto and I were in Berlin, and we done a ancestral meditation, and he shared his connection with the ancestors. And then when I spoke about mine, I had the lady, a journalist from the Happiness magazine, wrote, interviewed me and wrote about ancestors and in there, but it wasn't time for it. Like she could feel it, but it wasn't time for this work. As I said, everything's timing. One interesting thing in that was I noticed is that the one Indigenous look at the dark Indigenous say, oh, but that's normal for you. But when a white Indigenous says that they can do it, the one Indigenous, they said to me, oh, if you can do it, we can do it. And this is something that's quite important because our ancestors are connected to us, not to anyone else. And people think, oh, other people can do it for them. And we've got to do the work ourselves. So, as I said, I'm just the guide or facilitator for the program, and I know my job, what to do. And that's the important thing, is supporting the people. And the program's not about me. I could just do my work and say, oh, I'm done, I'm out. But when my grandfather said, I want you to help my people.
Oh, we're just having some technical issues.
Yeah.
The video is a bit frozen. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the video is frozen, so now, but it's not a problem. I can hear you. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the too much energy.
Yeah.
Too many people's ancestors turning up looking to see
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah. So this is how the program ended up. So this is part of my work here for the interim. The program that I have is, we work on that. We also work on if you were adopted, because that's also important. We also work on if you didn't know who your father was, so and that's okay. We can pick that up too. It's quite a good program, and I only have a maximum of 10 because when we're dealing with ancestors that need to go, it's my job to hold them in between, and that's part of my job. So when you're working with them and bringing them out of the dark, some of them will have they have fear. Because they've been held and suppressed. It's not even been in the dark, they've suppressed. It's like they've been suppressed. And one lady, the last workshop, she had 10 ancestors all clinging together in a cave because they've been suppressed for 10 generations. So it was my job, and she had trouble. So I had to learn my strength and energy, and I have to communicate with her ancestors. It's all right, we're doing this for love, and telling them the process. Most times people can communicate easy with their ancestors. Okay.
Yeah.
So with the program, it's interesting to see because I lay it out in papers. So as we're putting a piece of paper down, we're anchoring an ancestor down in your line. So it's like taking it from you and then putting it down. And each piece of paper tells me a story as I'm watching for the participants. And it's quite interesting to see people's own stories. So I've made lots of ancestral friends from others because they're connected with you, but I also let them know they're in a safe space. The ancestors, as well as you, the participants, are in a safe space. Each person has their own story. Each person will get out of it what they need. I've had lots of people say to me, "Oh, my backpack's gone off my back now," and I always check in at the end of the week. So we work on both lines. I check in at the end each week. Is everyone okay? Is there anything they need? Nearly 99% of the people contact me back, and they say within that week, they will have had one of them return back from where they are to say thank you. One had it on the day they went and could access coming back all the time quickly, and actually said to her, thank you, we were waiting for someone to do this for us. Now we can begin again. But in the program, it's not just a matter of also taking our ancestors from the suppression and into the light. The essence, it's also about us reclaiming our true lineage gifts. So we find out what our ancestors' purity was and what we can offer, and we connect back with that. Because as I say, our DNA, we know how DNA goes, but the DNA has had like a breakage in it. And this is where the breakage is where we disconnected from our true ancestral gifts that we were born into this lifetime. And this is what we take you back to. It doesn't dishonor those that were here through the heavier times. We appreciate and respect, because without them, we wouldn't be here now, of course. But we're actually cleaning it up. And that's what we talk about, generational clearing. It's that we're cleaning up all the generation within our family line. And we go back to our pure. I have had one young lady, she went to do a father's line, and she was told it's for her brother. But through the program, this is why you get a certificate and everything, and you were taught. And she's taken it home, and she's working with her brother to clear up the male line. So from her to him, she could do it. So we also cut the karma from her, so she didn't need to carry it, but she could support her brother. So it's a big program. It's very hard to sort of just blanketly put it out. Yeah, but this is something people may be happy just to finish there with just letting the ancestors go, and it's us coming back into our power the right way. So I say we can start at year 0 with our ancestral line. We can start at year 0, and then it's what we do this life and what we pass down to our children underneath us. So this is very, very, for me, it's very rewarding, because I see people grow. As you know, there's testimonials on my website from people emailing me, and I've said, can I put this on my website? Because it's important. I had originally people thinking it was only for females. I said, no, the men need to do it just as much. And the men that come absolutely love it. They said, oh, I understand so much now about my father, and I understand so much about myself. The thing is, I have had couples do it. And when you have couples do it, their relationship totally changes for the better.
Oh, wow.
I had one woman do it, and she said, my partner needs to do this, because she was now living in her truth. And when it was funny, because he came, and that morning they had an argument, and I already see it wasn't his, it was actually the energy from his grandfather's issue. And they had an argument, and then when he'd done the father's line, because we were doing the father's line, that issue came up, and he went, oh my goodness, now I know why I'm behaving like this. It's not mine, it's his. Once he cleared it. So I've had, some couples do it where they say, because they're not playing out. So they're not playing. This is the thing, is we're also playing out in our relationships the issues from our forefathers, so to speak. So it's really nice to see couples do this as well.
Let me just give a short translation for the people. Sharon hat gerade erklärt, wieso diese Arbeit so wichtig ist und wieso sie das Programm auch in mehrere Teile aufgeteilt hat. Also der Workshop, über den wir jetzt gerade viel gesprochen haben, ist wirklich der Teil, wo die Ahnenlinien geklärt werden, wo all dieser Schmerz rausgenommen wird, die Verbindung zu mir selber. Also wenn ich zum Workshop gehe, dann ist es ja so, ich komme dahin und habe meine Geschichte, die bringe ich mit. Und da sagt sie, das macht sie zum Beispiel ganz praktisch, ganz einfach mit Blättern, die ausgelegt werden. Ja, der Vater, Mutter, Großvater, Großmutter und so weiter. Und die Wichtigkeit darin besteht halt, weil die Ahnen verbinden sich so stark mit uns, und das kann ja, sie hat es gerade gesagt, das kann bei Paaren ganz genauso sein. Da kann es sein, dass Streitigkeiten, die Paare miteinander haben, gar nichts mit denen selber zu tun haben. Dann ist es vielleicht, wie sie es schon mal erlebt hat, bei einem Mann, bei einer Frau, dann ist es vielleicht der Großvater, dessen Energie, dessen noch nicht losgelassene Energie oder Themen durch ihn wirken, und plötzlich kommen die ins Streiten immer wieder. So. Und das können auch körperliche Symptome sein, das können Dinge sein, die einem immer wieder passieren. Ich kenne das ja selber auch aus der Aufstellungsarbeit, aber die Arbeit von Sharon ist was ganz anderes, ist nochmal was ganz Neues. Und sie beschreibt halt sehr eindeutig, dass wenn wir diese Ahnen losgelassen haben, wenn wir die Themen von denen losgelassen haben, weil wir müssen die nicht durcharbeiten, wir müssen nicht damit leben, dann kommen wir wieder in einen Zustand von uns selber. Sie beschreibt das so schön mit Purity, also mit einer gewissen Reinheit, mit einem gewissen, ja, wieder zu der eigenen Natur zurück. Und plötzlich können Dinge passieren, also es geht uns besser, wir sind erfolgreicher, wir kriegen die Dinge hin, die vorher nicht funktioniert haben. Die Beziehung wird besser, nicht nur zu mir selber, sondern auch natürlich zu meinem Liebsten, zu meiner Liebsten. Und solche Dinge, das hat sie gerade beschrieben, wie sie das auch schon viel erlebt hat in ihrer Arbeit bisher, dass die Menschen fast schon gar nicht glauben konnten, was sie da für einen Sprung gemacht haben. Allein dadurch, dass diese Ahnenlinien plötzlich geklärt sind. Ja, okay, thanks.
Thank you. Each day we do a ceremony at the end of the day with the fire, and to use the fire for transformation, to send them off. And I connect, the angelic realm connect with me, and we open the portal, because for every essence that goes, there has to be someone in the light that actually receives them to take where they are. It's interesting. There was a series called Ghost Whisperer in America, and she crosses over earthbound spirits one-on-one with their family and everything directly, because they're stuck. So if we could actually look at our ancestors as being earthbound spirits that haven't fully crossed over. But we're doing, the energies now are supporting us to do it on a mass scale, because that's what's needed. Then when our ancestors can come back to us with the right way to support us, they can support us through this new change that we're going through. And you will find a lot of our ancestors lived through these changes, so they can support us with that. I thought when I done the program that we'd only be running like 10 generations back, because I hear people do 7. So I thought, okay, we'll do 10. Nope. Now I've got the program down from 20 to 30 generations back. Some people have gone back right to their first ever ancestor on the planet.
Wow.
So I'm not governed by how far you go back. It's up to your ancestors and yourself. So you are governed by yourself, really, how far you go back. And it's not an issue, because they know that it can be done, so they're here to do it. So that's one quite important thing that I want people to know, is that really you're rewriting your story.
Yeah.
And this is what they want. And then they can come back and help us in this new times that we want in this world, the new world instead.
Yeah.
I'll let you explain that before I move on to...
Yeah. I will explain that to the people. Sharon hat gerade beschrieben, dass also genau diesen Prozess, wie das an den beiden Tagen im Workshop funktioniert, am Samstag und am Sonntag. Wir beschäftigen uns da zuerst mit der mütterlichen Linie und dann mit der väterlichen Linie, und jeden Tag wird es ein Feuerritual geben, eine Feuerzeremonie, um die Ahnen loszulassen. Und sie sagt, das Spannende ist halt, vorher kommen die Ahnen aus dem Grund, das ist ja nie was Böses, kommen die Ahnen und heften sich an uns dran und sind eben noch auf der Erde gebunden, also erdgebundene Seelen, wie wir auch sagen, um aber einfach zu sagen, hilf uns diese Ahnenlinien zu klären, hilf uns daraus zu befreien, weil wir wollen eigentlich rüber, ja. Und Sie müssen aber sozusagen, weil wir natürlich weil wir jetzt gerade dran sind, das zu machen, weil das bis jetzt noch viel der Fall ist, dass die hier sind und hier rumschwirren und nach ihrer Loslösung suchen, ist das jetzt gerade unsere Aufgabe. Und sie sagt auch, sie weiß, dass die Energie der Erde gerade stark darin unterstützt, genau diese Arbeit auch zu tun. Und dann haben wir das Schöne, wir lassen sie los, sie können gehen und wenn sie dann wieder zurückkommen, dann können sie in einem State, in einem Zustand zu uns kommen, wo wir wirklich Kraft draus schöpfen können, wo wir wirklich auch was für unseren Weg dann da mitnehmen. Dann haben wir wirklich hinter uns die Ahnen, die uns unterstützen.
Thank you. So once we've done that, we have to look at ourself, our own essence. And level 2, which I've done, is working on our own self and cleaning up anything that we've brought into this life. So whether it's past, it no longer serves its purpose, and finding out and letting go also all of ours. So this is high energetic work because you're dealing with yourself. And I was told long ago by Spirit that there's no harsher judges than ourselves. So everybody says Judgment Day's coming, and they're all talking about religious reasons. We won't go into that. But I was told that Judgment Day was coming. We were to judge ourselves, but not in a negative way. We were to release it, to let it go, because everything we've done is only an experience that we chose to have. And when we look at, this is an experience I wanted had, and we don't know collectively what the planet needed at that time. And and they may have needed the heavier energies for that time. I have a lot of women that work with, they say witches and that, and I always say, please stop telling their story in a negative way. Witches, warlocks, whatever, that era, and I know because I've been through Seville, and I said to them, they'd say to me, stop being negative on our story. We knew because we were coming down just to keep the light and to keep some of the old ways happening on the planet. We knew it's okay. It was just our experience. So we're not harsh on ourselves. This is how we learn to love ourselves again. To really love ourselves. And then we can go back into our pure essence, and then we find out what we're here for, what our gifts are, and move forward into the new. We can't go into the new with even all our baggage on us. We have to let it go. So that is level 2 that we do. I've just summarized it a little bit. I'll let you explain that one.
Ja. Wir haben gerade gehört, es gibt Level 2 in diesem Programm von Sharon. Und das Level 2, da dreht es sich um das Selbst. Also Selbst auch viel mehr in einem Sinne, das, was dann plötzlich zum Vorschein kommt, wenn wir gesagt haben, wir haben diese ganzen Belastungen durch die Ahnen, wir haben diese ganzen Verbindungen geklärt und gereinigt, weil dann kommen wir eher, also das Wort ist vielleicht, wenn man es auf Deutsch übersetzt, eher sowas wie die Essenz, ja, oder so ein natürlicher, ursprünglicher Zustand, mit dem wir mal hier ankamen, bevor diese ganzen Belastungen uns betroffen haben. Das ist dann auch der Zustand, wo wir rausgehen aus dem eigenen Judgment, aus der eigenen Beurteilung, aus der eigenen Bewertung. Wo wir wirklich dahin kommen, in Verbindung mit Natur, in Verbindung mit dem natürlichen Zustand zu merken, es ist in Ordnung. Es ist, und das schließt ja nie aus, dass man irgendwas auch gut oder schlecht findet oder sich hier und da engagiert oder. Aber es gibt erstmal ein grundsätzliches, es ist in Ordnung. Und dass wir auch wieder mit uns in Ordnung fühlen, in Ordnung sind. Ja.
Thank you. It's very important for me. It's to support people, and that's all I'm here for, is to support people. As we say with our Avalon energies that I work with, is to empower the people. It's not, and this is it. And you start learning who you are. and we find out who we are on this land, and why we chose to be this white Indigenous person on this land, and what we can offer. So level 3 is for the coaches. This is something that I'm also very passionate about, because this work, I don't see that I can just do it all alone, and this is where I let go and we become a network. So in the coaching program, I coach, I have coaches, and I'm very mindful on which coaches are right and which coaches aren't. I talk with them and make sure that they can do this. But when I work with the coaching program, as I said, I'm working with the Dutch now. They're at level 3 for coaching, is so that they can help their own clients one-on-one. The coaching program is only to allow you to work directly one-on-one with someone, because I'm very mindful and respectful of care of duty. To ask someone to do what I need to do is not right. To hold all that, but when you're working one-on-one with a client is right. I'm also very mindful on the program, because I've been told by upstairs is we have to keep it pure, because when we're working with this kind of energy and these kind of people, we have to keep it pure, and we have to just support. And that's all my role is supporting, not actually taking over, supporting you with my energy to do the work you need to do. So the coaches, they will be, we do the coaching program is so that you can go out and help your clients in your native language, because there is people. I've got someone from Canada wanting to come, so she can go back there. Ireland and people. It doesn't matter where I am. I unfortunately for some, I only do it in English, but it's good because, like for you, Fabian, you can translate, so we can actually bring it in, and it can flow easy enough with you translating, because you just totally translate. A lot of people say, but sometimes we don't speak a lot of English, but we know what we're doing, because it's done on different energy levels, because I'm just guiding and supporting. But eventually the aim with this is that the coaches will go out and can help their own clients with this in their native language, and create a network of around the planet of people working together to support each other. Each client will be different, the same with me. Each participant is different for me, because everybody's story is different, and my job is also for the coaches is to support them in the program. And if they get stuck, that's what my job is, to support them. Because one of the ladies said, "Oh, I couldn't do what you're doing with all these people. How do I do coaching?" And I said, "Because you only work one-on-one, and you would only do one line, and maybe we split it up, and you may have 4 sessions with your client, maybe 6 intake and a catch up at the end." I said, "But you would have 6 sessions with your client. You wouldn't do it the way I do it." So the coaching is going to be very important for the people. Not it's I need it to go for more people, and I'm a firm believer of we are all here to support each other, and this is what it is. I could be greedy and say, "Nope, it's mine," but that's not doing the integrity to the work that is needed. So this is the coaching program, and I know that the coaches that I'm doing in the Netherlands in July, they've already got clients waiting.
Oh,
They've
great.
asked for, some of them got 3 or 4 clients, but I said, "I'm sorry, but I can't do it any earlier because I've already booked the space." And they already know that they're already going to start. And they already, because they've done the work, they've already picked up clients of theirs that need it. And sometimes they say to them, "No, you need to go to Sharon." And I said, "No." So their aim is with the coaching program, and I've just trademarked Healey Academy. Is so that the coaches will be all listed down there. So when people contact me or whatever, I can send them to a coach that I know can do the work for them and support them. And this is something that is very important, is we need to become one community again on the planet and support each other. And
Yeah.
this is the end goal for it. And while I stay in that energy and the correct energy and the correct mission that they've asked me to do, then the more people will be helped. And this is the flow on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds fantastic. Let me just wrap it up for the people.
Yep.
Also Sharon hat gerade erzählt, es gibt noch das Level 3. Das Level 3 ist für Coaches und Coachinnen, die sagen möchten, ich möchte diese Arbeit auch mit meinen Klienten machen, ja, im 1:1. Das heißt, dort in diesem Level 3 Workshop zeigt Sharon, wie man das einzeln mit seinen Klienten und Klientinnen selber machen kann. Weil sie sagt, sie möchte diese Arbeit, also du merkst ja wahrscheinlich, wie wichtig diese Arbeit ist. Du hast es vielleicht selber schon bemerkt. Du hörst Sharon reden. Und sie sagt, sie möchte gern den Leuten dabei helfen. Sie möchte allen Leuten helfen. Jetzt haben wir natürlich physische Grenzen. Also ganz einfach gesagt, Sharon kann auch nicht überall sein. Deswegen gibt sie ja diese größeren Workshops, wo die Leute hinkommen, das Lernen, diese Klärung selber lernen können. Und weil sie möchte, dass sich daraus ein Netzwerk entwickelt, wo sie auch sagen kann, sie hilft dann den Coaches dabei, unterstützt dabei. Es gibt schon die Healey Academy, die hat begonnen. Das wird auch eine Plattform sein, wo dann diese Coaches gelistet werden und wo es immer wieder Austausch, Unterstützung gibt. Also Level 3, auch eine interessante Sache, diese Arbeit dann selber mit den eigenen Klienten zu machen. Und sie sagt, sie hat schon einige Anmeldungen von Leuten. Sie hat schon in den Niederlanden gibt's schon die ersten Coaches, die mit ihren Klienten die Arbeit machen. Und ja, diesen Workshop wird es dann auch hier in Deutschland geben. Also wir werden jeweils zu allen Workshops wird es in diesem Jahr einen Workshop geben. Level 1 die Ahnen, Level 2 das Selbst, also die Entdeckung des eigenen Befreiten, der eigenen befreiten Essenz. Und Level 3, wenn du möchtest, dann, weil du selber schon mit Leuten, mit Menschen arbeitest, das selber mit den Menschen zu machen im 1:1. Ja.
With the coaching program, not everyone will want to do it. They may just want to do level 1,
Ja.
level 2. It's an individual choice. There's never any pressure on what you want to do. But with the coaches, Healey Academy that I've created, if they're working with a client and they're complete, then we send a certificate in case later the participant wants to do the self with me, and these are the things. It's going to be like a network. But yeah, the coaching program, people don't have to think, oh, if I do level 1, then but I don't want to do coaching. No, if you just want to do it for yourself, that is fine, and continue off on whatever you want to do. The coaching program is only for those that want to do it and want to and have clientele that they already do. And again, they can write it off to tax because it's invoiced and so forth. So we're trying to do it in a way that is the work, but also we're ground workers and we have to live within a structure of living as a human being. So we also need to work in that framework as well. It's very hard where you've got to, for me, and for all of us, we're always switching. And this is why, I work both sides. So it's just crossing back and forward all the time. And this is how all Dark Indigenous work both sides all the time. And I've always worked both sides. And this is something the white Indigenous need to start learning again, how to be working both sides at the same time without overthinking it. It's natural. It's just natural because it's natural to every essence on the planet, every soul essence on the planet. It is natural for us to be walking both sides. In our spacesuit, I call it, in our human body. Yeah.
So when you're talking of the both sides, you mean like there's the spiritual side we're actually always connected to, and the side of the earthy
human
things.
world.
Yeah, the human world.
Things. Yeah. So we're see if we become more consciously aware, then we're making choices on a correct way instead of just on the fear-based human way. So we start connecting more consciously and going, oh no, this isn't right. So we're
Yeah.
guided more on how to be a better human being on the planet for everyone. It's not easy because we're all human too. We have human emotions, and things during the day can get
Rapidly
on.
change.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
the weather can change very quickly.
Yeah.
But this is when we go, okay, we say we're doing human stuff now. That's right, we do human stuff now. Because without this human stuff, we wouldn't also be doing what we're doing. So yeah. So that's pretty well what it's all about. The coaching program is also under a different name. I'm yet to disclose that. It's not called Generational Clearing. They will be called different name for coaches, which means that every soul has the right of being seen, and they will be the coaches. That's the wording, that the name. But it will be based on the training it's the program of the generational clearing. It's just to separate things in a way, and this is what it's all about. Every soul has the right to be seen and to be respected, and that's how we work. Yeah.
Well, that sounds fantastic. It's actually a nice word to close it today. I think every soul has to be seen, or has the right to be seen, which is nice.
Yeah.
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 I just remembered a word from when I learned, it's really like 10, 15 years ago, when I learned about body work. But it's much more of a body work, which is not only about the body. It is, of course, concerning the spiritual world. And the man which founded it, as you can say, he always said, "Wir sind Bürger zweier Welten. We are like people of two worlds." So that's as you said it's a spiritual world, but of course we're humans. It's the earth. It's our constructions we live in all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, because without the physical body, our essence couldn't survive down here,
Yeah.
and yet we're shown the opposite when the astronauts go to space, that they have to have a spacesuit because the body can't survive out there. But
Yes. Yes. Nice.
I was always taught to reverse everything. So what I'm being shown, an astronaut going out because the physical body can't live in the out there in the universe. So if I switched it around, it comes back to the other way. This is a spacesuit down here because the essence can't survive down here in the. So yeah, I've been taught to turn everything upside down and look at it through a different perspective, to a human perspective as well. Yeah. Yeah, but I'd like to say thank you to you two for taking the time to talk with me today, and also for all the support you're giving me in helping the Germans, because I know that we done a meditation at the Haka, and I brought in the Avalon energies and the wordings that you got, and which were in English, and which has a lot to do with supporting the people and taking that heavy weight off them, and bringing
Yeah.
the people back into their power, so it's not around their power center anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that was a very important information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love to do that. I'm really, yeah, as I can say, I'm really proud. I'm really happy to do what I'm capable of,
Yeah.
to making this work much more seen, because I think it's really necessary. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think in a lot of countries it is, but I'm still, because I've worked with constellation work a lot of years, still doing, but not so intense anymore. Yeah, I know that German people are still suffering from all we talked about, from all the fleeing from all the wars, from all the violence, and we still have the ancestors on our backs, and they're still asking, of course, help us, clean the lineage.
And that's all they're asking.
Yeah,
And they want,
yeah,
and no judgment, because
yeah.
we don't know what they went through, and their story. I have a dear friend, and her grandfather was very pro. World War II. He was very pro,
Yeah.
and my grandfather was anti. But we both still love each other, and she's reading his diary, and I'm with my grandfather, and we're seeing it through their eyes and their belief system. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just, you know, what they wanted to experience on the planet. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 So very good. All right. Well, I will
Thank you very
leave you with
much.
that. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
So, just a short word to the viewers. Also wir haben gerade am Ende nochmal kurzes zusammengefasst auch. Wenn wir die Ahnenlinien wirklich geklärt haben, dann kommen wir zu einem Selbst, was wirklich auch erkennen kann, dass das alles, was wir machen, hier auch Erfahrung ist. Und Sharon hat so schön gesagt, wir haben halt diese zwei Welten in uns. Und gerade für uns, deswegen ist ja auch ihre spannende Verbindung mit ihrem Mann, eine Maori, so spannend, dass sie auch immer wieder darauf hingewiesen wird, ja, es gibt diese zwei Welten, es gibt diese zwei Welten. Ich bin auch ein spiritueller Mensch, ich bin sozusagen auch ein geistiges Wesen, gleichzeitig habe ich hier meine Erdverbindung, habe hier meine menschlichen Konditionen. Aber es geht eben darum, uns darin zu unterstützen, darin zu befreien. Und ihr ist auch irgendwann klar geworden, dass wir auch irgendwann uns ausgewählt haben hier als weiße Indigene, und das finde ich spannend, zu hören, dass sie das so in die Welt trägt. Wir sind eben die weißen Indigenen, die uns hier ausgesucht haben, auf dieser Erde, auf diesem Teil zu inkarnieren, da zu sein, diese Erfahrung zu machen. Aber das heißt eben nicht, dass wir auf einem völlig anderen Pfad gehen, auf einem völlig anderen Pfad wandeln, sondern wir haben auch dieses, ich habe es vorhin gesagt, von dem ich sprach, der Karl Friedgraf Dürkheim, wir sind Bürger zweier Welten, das immer wieder zusammenzubringen. Und das ist im Grunde gerade die Aufgabe. Ja. Okay. Sharon, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure to hear about that important work and to hear about your connection to it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much.
I'm excited to meet you in person. It's just in June. We're going to have the first workshop in June, right? Yeah, on June the 3rd and the 4th.
Yeah.
And we start with level 1. So I'm going to be there. Of course, you're going to be there, and I will be supporting you. Yeah, and I'm really excited about it. Everyone showing up there, and yeah. Für euch, die euch das interessiert, schreibt mir einfach eine Mail oder per WhatsApp, was auch immer. Da gibt's tausende Möglichkeiten. Schreibt mich an, wenn ihr Infos dazu haben wollt, wenn ihr euch anmelden möchtet zu dem Workshop. Das läuft alles über mich, oder weitere Termine gibt's natürlich auch. Das könnt ihr alles bei mir erfahren. Ja.
Yeah.
So, that's it for today.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really, really looking forward to being able to do the first one in Germany, because
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
I can really feel it for the people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
I
so
already
important.
have I already can feel ancestors excited that this is coming, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Bye.